What moment in an argument made you realize this person is an idiot and there is no winning scenario? An old roommate of mine was trying to say we were blackmailing her when we were asking her to take out her trash, etc. She said, "Watch the Lizzie McGuire movie, there's blackmail in there and it's obvious that's what you're doing to me." I believe it goes without saying that she never cleaned up after herself, nor did she understand that movie. Damn, the Lizzie McGuire movie is darker than I thought. Co-worker would constantly preach against GMOs, parabens, only use oils when sick, etc. She told me I was going to get cancer from my deodorant, and the corn I bought was mutant. Then she'd go outside and smoke 3 cigarettes every 2 hours. Edit, thanks to whoever gave me the silver. I've only been on Reddit a few days and didn't expect so much reaction to a random comment this morning. That being said, this one comment has brought me a flurry of insults and angry messages. It's funny how one off-the-cuff observation can send people into a tirade. I know the internet is full of toxic people, but I really hope to engage in some good conversations on here. Guess not. It's been fun, but bye-bye Reddit, you are too scary for me. P.S. If I'm getting this kind of abuse for this comment, I can't imagine what you all who actually post political opinions are getting. Good luck you too. When I was arguing with someone about why milk doesn't go in first when making a cup of tea, a very English debate, and his argument was when you add boiling water to cold milk, you're warming it up, but when you add cold milk to boiling water, you're cooling it down, and I don't want cold tea. I tried to explain how the end temperature will be exactly the same regardless, but he was already celebrating his self-awarded victory. That's stupid. Also, to add to your argument, you would put the milk in last because it's easier for the tea to diffuse in the water without being inhibited by the milk. On top of that, if you put too little milk in and stir it, you can always add more according to taste. Once it's in there you can't take it out. How do people not get this? I'm with you Scalise. Very contentious issue, and I will admit to all those disagreeing with me that your delivery mechanism, teapot versus tea bag already in the mug, does make a difference. My cousins are flat earthers. When lack of evidence is just proof of a conspiracy, it's best to just disengage. You can't break into that prison, they have to break out. You can't reason someone out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. When a sex manager insisted to me it was impossible for a laptop CPU to hit over 100 because that would melt gold. His tech expert buddy backing him up the whole time. Someone who is dating my roommate considers herself to be environmentally conscious. She claimed that napkins were bad for the environment and they increase one's carbon footprint. She ranted about it to me in my own home, even though I don't even buy napkins. Maybe a week or so later, she noticed I use a reusable coffee filter and berated me for not using disposable paper filters. I told her that using a reusable filter cuts down on the amount of waste that we produce when brewing coffee, so, not only do I not contribute to filling up landfills with paper filters, but I also save money from not buying them in the first place and just cleaning the plastic one. She told me that since paper filters are biodegradable, there is no reason for me to refrain from using them. But napkins are made of paper. Napkins are made of paper. She literally just wanted to stand on a soapbox and hear herself talk. She derives pleasure from telling others that they are wrong, regardless of whether or not they are actually wrong. There is no winning an argument with her. When she said I don't have to be rational when discussing how and why laws are made. I don't know. Acting irrationally might be a good exercise in the creation of laws to better understand irrational thoughts related to said laws. A guy said to me, "Anecdotal evidence is all I need because it describes my truth, and my truth is reality." Brew. Then splash a glass of water in his face and say, "Welcome to my reality." After asking them to go home because they were quite clearly sick with a cold, being told don't be stupid, there's no such thing as colds, it's just allergies to the cold weather. Well, in third-degree burns are just being allergic to being on fire. We had a new assistant at work who was not fitting in with the team. I sat her down and talked to her about expectations and reviewed the responsibilities of the position several times. In one last effort to help her, I thought I'd see which parts of the job she liked. I asked her, "What skill do you think is your strongest skill?" And she said, "Delegating." I have worked as a trainer for a management position where we had to force people to step back, stop trying to do everything, and just delegate. If someone came in for an interview and said delegation was their strength, they already had a foot in the door. It was hilarious seeing people adjust. If you like to stay active, it made you feel lazy and worthless. He had an aversion to Stephen King. Thought Stephen King only wrote gory trash with no redeeming value. that everyone who reads Stephen King had mental issues. And his favorite movie was The Shawshank Redemption. Even after I showed the credits both on IMDb and Wikipedia, he refused to believe that the degenerate Stephen King was in any way, shape or form involved with his dearly beloved film. This has happened to Stephen King. There's a few audience with videos on YouTube, talking at various campuses and events etc. He tells this story of going into a Floridan supermarket and an old lady telling him she didn't like horror stories but like uplifting stories like that Shawshank Redemption. King says, "I wrote that." She replies, "No you didn't," and walks off. A co-worker went on a rant about how all teachers are lazy and only work from 8 to 3 while taking loads of holiday time while doing minimal work. "I come from a family of teachers, so I could see the time put in at home, the lost weekends, the days of doing work till 7 p.m., the last 2 weeks of every summer holiday spent in school prepping the classroom for the next year, buying materials out of their own pocket because the school budget wouldn't cover it." My co-worker's response: "Well, I'm a parent so I know more about it than you do." I nearly flipped my lid. The thing with opinions about teachers is that since everyone went to school, everyone feel like a specialist of what teaching is about. The truth is that, as a student, you have no idea what the teacher is doing. My sister is becoming a teacher and was an intern at my former school. I was surprised to learn that many teachers there still knew who I was, even though I haven't been there in 12 years and I wasn't a student who stood out for some reason. Then I thought about the heaps of administration these teachers have to make about each student they teach, and considering they were teaching me multiple of years, that probably added up a lot. People who say stuff like, "Okay, that's your opinion, but I have my own" when discussing about objective facts, like science issues, meaning of words. Edit: a lot of people seem confused with my wording. I'm adding a couple of examples of what I mean. Science: water boils at 70 degrees Celsius, that's my opinion. Words: in my opinion, the Spanish word hola means dog. So basically, facts which are either true or false and not open to opinions. I remember discussing the act of placing your palms together and bowing in the context of a greeting. This guy was trying to argue that it was a common thing in Japan. It isn't. I'm Japanese and have lived in Japan. He's American and has never been to Japan. He was saying I must be wrong because he experienced it once, in a Japanese restaurant, in Thailand. A discussion with someone about the process of getting a license. Obviously they didn't have one, and didn't believe that you had to do a 5-hour driving class to get one. The moment came when they tried the whole "you can always believe stuff from the internet" and were just like A, you jump on pretty much any conspiracy theory you find on the internet, and B, we're on the fucking DMV's website. They seriously still didn't believe it, and tried to go the whole "you gotta use Google to win arguments" route. Edit for clarification, I'm from New York and am very aware that laws are different in other states, and that they have changed over the years. The thing is, we were talking about the laws in the current year, and he refused to believe the DMV website, just because it was a website. Also, I'm not saying that you don't need driving practice, you need 50 hours, in NY. When she kept trying to change the subject, every time she realized she was wrong, I stayed with verifiable facts. She went all over the map, bringing up shit I did like 5 years ago. "You can't turn right at this red light. The sign says so right there." Well, you burnt that craft dinner that one time. You didn't read those instructions, did you? Who the hell burns craft dinner? "You can't turn right at this red light. The sign says so right there." This friend of mine was always late when we wanted to hang out, sometimes she even canceled last minute, 10 minutes before the time we were supposed to meet. I once made a joke saying we all knew she was the worst when having to meet her because she was so unorganized and cancelled so many events. A few days before she was leaving for college we were meant to meet, so I arrived late knowing she was going to be anyway, waited for her for about an hour or so, but it was the last day I could meet with her so I didn't mind that much and I asked a friend to wait with me. I received a message 1.5 hours later saying, "I'm not coming and don't even bother me asking why, I don't have to justify when I arrive later." That day I realized she wasn't worth it, because yes I deserve an explanation when waiting you for almost 2 hours. One of my many stories from working in a discount shoe store. Woman with 3 boys under the age of 12 come in. Woman goes up to the counter. Woman, "I need to exchange these shoes in for a different size." Me, "Okay, let me get that started for you." Normally we can exchange shoes in for the same model just in a size up or down. It's pretty common for parents to buy shoes underestimating how much their kids have grown and come in for a bigger size. Anyway, I open the box. The shoes are completely trashed. Toe blown out, the sole is peeling off, and they smell to high heaven. Me, ma'am, I'm sorry but I can't make an exchange for these shoes. Woman, well, why not? Me, I wouldn't be able to resell them but I think we still have this style if you wanted to purchase a new pair. Woman, why can't I just exchange these shoes for a bigger size? Insert store name here, has always let me exchange shoes when my kid grows out of them. Me, ma'am, I'm sorry that someone has told you we do that but that's not a policy we have. I can return or exchange shoes that are in good enough condition to be resold but I can't resell these. Woman, other stores have let me exchange them. Me, which store have you done this with? Woman, can I speak to your manager? And that's when I knew, there were no winning with this girl. Thanks for watching Team Astro, please subscribe for more videos. Daily fun fact before you leave. Coca-Cola would be green if coloring wasn't added to it. Bye.